What you're about to hear is not a horror film. It's not a twisted Netflix script. This is real, and it's worse than you think. A cult so disturbing, a man so monstrous, that even the police couldn't believe it, until it was too late. He forced children to be beaten with hammers, made mothers watch their kids burn, claimed he was pregnant with a dead woman's soul after having sex with her corpse. Still think you've heard the worst? No, you haven't. Don't blink, or you'll miss the moment the devil showed up in human form. Let's talk about Roch Thériault, the cult leader of the Ant Hill Kids, and possibly the most evil man to ever walk this planet. Roch Thériault was no fool. He was smart, manipulative, and charismatic enough to make people willingly walk into hell. He didn't start as a monster. He started out as a religious man, obsessed with the Bible. Called himself a healer. He preached about a clean life, no alcohol, no smoking, organic food only, and people, they believed. They sold everything they owned, gave him their life savings. Some even gave up their children just to follow him. But behind that so-called clinic, he was building something darker, much darker. He called them the Ant Hill Kids, mocking how they worked like ants, while he ruled like a god. But soon, he didn't just want obedience. No, he wanted control over their minds, their bodies, and their very souls. Roch didn't just control his cult, he married every woman inside it. And then, he raped them, humiliated them, tortured them. He forced sexual acts in front of their children, and told them this was God's will. Children were stoned by other children, hung over fires, used as toilet paper. Babies grew up thinking this was normal. One woman, hungry and desperate, ate extra pancakes. Roch broke her ribs, then ordered her husband to cut off her finger. A man named Guy accidentally hurt a child, so Roch cut off his testicles with a dough knife and poured salt water into the wound. Then there was Gabrielle, one of Roch's most loyal followers. He amputated her breast with an axe, nailed her hand to a table. When it got infected, he dug into her chest with scissors. No anesthesia, no hesitation. He hit her skull so hard with an axe. Maggots started growing in the wound, and still, she went back to him. You thought it couldn't get worse. It did. Her name was Solange, one of Roch's many wives. One day, she complained of stomach pain, and Roch, a cult leader with a god complex and no medical training, declared himself a surgeon. He said he could fix her. Instead, he tied her down, choked her, punched her in the stomach. Then, using a kitchen knife, he cut a hole 5 inches deep right into her ribs, and with his bare hands, he pulled out her intestines. She bled out overnight, slowly, in pain, alone. But Roch didn't mourn. He didn't cry. He didn't even flinch. Instead, he said Solange was inside him now. And it gets even more disturbing. Roch later dug up her corpse, drilled a hole in her skull, and then had sex with it. He kept her organs in jars, labeled them, and kissed them. Yes, this really happened. And the most haunting part? People still loved him, still believe he was divine. In 1987, the truth finally screamed its way out, not from the mouths of children, but from the wounds of a woman who had once worshipped him. Gabrielle, one of his victims. She had let him slice off her fingers. She had let him crucify her hand to a wooden table. And still she stayed. Until one day, she couldn't. She ran, broken, bleeding, and told the police everything. And when they entered that so-called commune, the children didn't cry. They were too used to pain. When foster workers asked them what happened, they described things no child should even know. Hands hacked off like warnings, intestines preserved in jars like trophies, beatings while others watched, and feces forced into their mouths as punishment. Georgia Brown, the lead investigator, she had seen dark things before, but this shattered her. She took her own life not long after. Roch was arrested. And yet, some of the women still visited him in prison, still believed he was more than a man, still whispered that he would return. But sometimes, evil doesn't get to die. It just waits. In 2011, behind the cold walls of Dorchester Penitentiary, the man who once called himself a prophet finally met someone he couldn't control. His name was Matthew McDonald, a killer, but not a follower. One morning, without a word, Matthew slit Roch Thériault's throat, clean, silent, final. Then he walked up to the guards, placed the knife in their hands, and said,
"That piece of SH*T is down the range. Here's the knife I slice him with."
And just like that, it was over. The man who tortured dozens in the name of God, who convinced people to mutilate themselves, who made mothers watch their children suffer, was finally silenced, not by justice, not by the system, but by someone who didn't need to believe in evil to end it. The devil didn't die in fire. He bled out in the same hell he created for others. Was Roch Thériault just a man, or was he something darker, the purest form of cruelty, hiding in human skin? Because this isn't just a story of a cult, it's a mirror, a warning that evil doesn't always wear horns. Sometimes it smiles like a father, whispers like a saint. It offers love to the broken, then uses that love as a leash. Let this story serve as a reminder that blind devotion is not holiness. If the story disturbed you, you're not the only one. There are more real horrors the world needs to confront. So if you're ready to go deeper, share and subscribe, and always remember, monsters don't always hide in the shadows. Sometimes they sit in plain sight, wearing a smile.